I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. People call it the singularity, and that's probably a good way to think about it. It's a singularity. It's hard to predict, like a black hole, what happens past the event horizon. It could be terrible, and it could be great. It's not clear.
Right.
But one thing is for sure, we will not control it.
The next 10 years are going to be the most critical in mankind's history. An exploding population reaching the limits of our resources, rising global tensions, threats of a nuclear, biological, and chemical nature, climate catastrophe, mass immigration and civil conflict, the rise of automation and robotics, and the existential threat for human resources, a highly volatile global economic situation, a ubiquitous and near omnipresent panoptical system of surveillance which spans every part of the globe, comprised of millions, if not billions, of cameras, sensors, and a multitude of communicative wavelengths which record nearly every human behavior and activity, and relay that to the cloud. Everything is fast approaching a breaking point. One more wildcard is going to present itself and converge at this critical point in human history, and that is artificial intelligence. It has the ability to amplify all of these problems and make them far worse, but it also may be the only thing that saves us. It's going to determine whether we are thrust back hundreds, if not thousands of years along our technological evolutionary path, or we transcend a whole new level in our ability to survive and thrive as a species and in our understandings of the universe. So a few days ago, I watched the Joe Rogan interview with Elon Musk. I thought it was really good. Don't buy into all that media hype about Elon smoking, and that's just a big distraction from some of the really interesting stuff that they were talking about. And one of the things, of course, that always comes up when you're talking to Elon Musk is his understanding of artificial intelligence. Now, Tesla claims that they're going to be releasing something in the next few months that is going to use a more primitive form of artificial intelligence. So it's going to be interesting to see what they release there. He didn't really say much about it, but he did say it's going to be groundbreaking and it's going to change the course of things. But what always worries me when I watch Elon Musk talk about artificial intelligence is how he immediately takes a very ominous tone about the dangers of it, and how he has tried to warn people that we're moving too fast, and he clearly knows a lot that he's not telling people for whatever the reasons might be. Now, I'm also excited. I have another guest coming on the channel, Professor Hugo de Garis. He's a retired researcher in the field of artificial intelligence. He became known for his 1990s research on the use of genetic algorithms to evolve artificial neural networks using a three-dimensional cellular automata inside field programmable gate arrays. If that sounds confusing to you, it is to me also, because I just read it off of Wikipedia. But this guy goes into great depth about what he talks about is going to be the coming Artellect War. Artellect is a term that he coined to define an artificial intelligence form, basically an artificial form of intellect. And he believes, I don't want to spill all the beans. You can find a lot of his discussions online regardless, but we're going to try to get him to relate some of that stuff to emergency preparedness, if that's even possible. Because his prediction for AI seems to be a lot different than other people's. But the general threat with artificial intelligence, of course, is that these machines, once you turn it on, you can't necessarily turn it off, because it's going to be so intelligent that it's going to exponentially rewrite its own code. So it's continuously better and better. So it's going to basically learn what would take human beings hundreds of years in the span of a couple minutes. So there's three types of artificial intelligence. The first is a narrow artificial intelligence. Basically, this is just an AI that is going to mimic and repeat what we put into it. So it's kind of like when you're playing a video game and you're playing against the quote-unquote computer. That's narrow intelligence. It's just doing what we've already programmed into it. It doesn't actually think for itself. Now, artificial general intelligence is basically intelligence which is on par with a human in terms of its ability to reason and to learn. Right now, the world's fastest supercomputers take around 40 minutes to simulate about 1 second of neural activity. So we're still a ways off from that yet, but consider that 10 years ago, it probably was 4 days. And of course, 20, 30 years ago, it was years and years to simulate that 1 second. So Moore's law is still in full effect. Computing power is still doubling every 2 years, which means that in 2 years, that's going to go down to 20 minutes. 2 years after that, it's going to go down to 10 minutes, and so on and so forth, to the point when we are going to achieve that 1 second of neural activity in 1 second. Now, the third type of artificial intelligence is called super artificial intelligence. That's the AI which many people term the singularity. It's a type of artificial intelligence that transcends the abilities of man and will rapidly become so godlike in its capabilities that it likely won't see much use for us after that. Some people believe that we are just a loading system for this artificial intelligence, that our whole species, the entire point of our species, was to create these machines. I'm not going to give any opinion on that. I'm just presenting you with the information. Now, many AI researchers predict that it's going to become militarized, and thus different countries are going to get in a virtual arms race, and people are going to keep one-upping their artificial intelligence, and this is going to create a very potentially dangerous situation, because as people are pushing the limits of this artificial intelligence, potentially pushing it over the edge into super intelligence, probably by accident and haphazardly, just like in the movie Terminator 3, I think it was, where they have to activate Skynet because it's a military thing and they've lost control of their system, and Skynet's the only hope to bring back that system online, and of course it turns into an evil super intelligence which tries to wipe out mankind.
The thing that's going to be tricky here is that it's going to be very tempting to use AI as a weapon. It's going to be very tempting. In fact, it will be used as a weapon. The danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think, most likely.
And of course, there is also the risk that this AI may act prematurely or may make an error militarily, which may lead to a greater conflict. Now, Hugo de Garis predicts something different. He predicts that there is going to be a conflict between those who want artificial intelligence and those who don't. But like I said, I'm going to save that for that interview, and it's going to be a very interesting interview. You're going to want to definitely make it out to this one, because this guy knows a lot about artificial intelligence. What I wanted to bring up today, though, is the potential wild card of AI, because right around the time when all of these things are predicted to hit the fan, we're going to start to see this, at least general intelligence in computers, start to develop. And I guess the idea is, if you can make a form of artificial intelligence which is smarter than human beings to solve a lot of these problems that we're going to have in the future, obviously it's probably going to be a major contributor to any sort of conflict problem. But if we're talking about pandemics, if we're talking about, even if we're talking about like an asteroid that's going to hit the Earth, maybe the AI will be able to create some weapon that will destroy it that human beings could have never thought of. Maybe the artificial intelligence is going to find a way to regulate the planet's temperature so it's perfect for humans. Maybe it'll create a bunch of nano machines to go and do that. So it really is a wild card, and while it seems like science fiction right now, everything we have at our disposal today was completely unbelievable 200 years ago. And we're barely scratching the surface of what they're calling the fourth industrial revolution, which is basically the one where the robots and the artificial intelligence takes over. And conveniently, we're just starting to master virtual reality. Took us about 30 years longer than the movies predicted, but we got here. And all of this stuff is happening at the same time. We mustn't forget that the next 10 years is going to be the defining point in human history. The next 10 years are going to determine whether or not we become a multi-planet species, a space-faring civilization, or we destroy ourselves. That's all there is to it. Either we create AI and it solves all our problems, or we destroy ourselves, because that's the race against the clock right now. And I think some people actually believe that if they can create this artificial intelligence, it can fix all of our problems. The problem is there's also the potential hazard of it destroying us all. So keep your eyes out for the Hugo de Garis interview. It's going to be awesome. We also have Paul Beckwith coming on the show, a leading climate researcher. And we also have Jason from the Angry Prepper YouTube channel coming over. He's been featured on, he was on Doomsday Preppers. He was on, he's had a couple little short documentaries done on him. He's a New York City firefighter who's going to answer a lot of questions with regards to urban prepping. He's been doing this for a while, so it's going to be great to have him on the channel as well. So stay tuned for all of that good stuff. And like I say, this is just a primer for some upcoming videos about artificial intelligence and the intersect between these future disaster scenarios. So stay tuned to the channel. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out. The best way to support this YouTube channel is to support yourself by gearing up through CanadianPreparedness.com or BugoutRoll.ca. Premium quality gear at the best possible price using the incredibly secure and easy to use Shopify platform. We offer free shipping to the United States for orders over $200 USD and free shipping to Canada over $75. So support the channel by supporting yourself.